Welcome to Realty Reels, your go-to Aussie channel for property insights and market trends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to get closer to your real estate dream. Spring surge. Australia's housing boom explained. Prices soar, despite rising unemployment. Australia's housing market is on fire again. This spring, prices are soaring, auctions are packed, and buyer demand is heating up. But here's the twist. Unemployment is rising. So, how on earth are property prices climbing while the economy slows down? Let's unpack this fascinating contradiction. Welcome back to Realty Reels, your go-to channel for real estate trends, property insights, and everything shaping Australia's housing market. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss the facts behind the headlines. According to the latest data from the ABS, unemployment has crept up to 4.5%, the highest it's been this cycle. At first glance, that sounds worrying higher. Unemployment usually means a weaker economy and slower spending, right? But let's look deeper. Even with that increase, Australia's jobless rate is still historically low. In fact, through most of the past decade, unemployment sat well above 5%. So a figure in the mid-fours still represents a strong labour market, just not the ultra-tight one we've had since the pandemic. Economists call this a normal business cycle. The economy breathes in and out. After record high participation and job creation, it's natural to see a small correction. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Some media outlets are already shouting that this rise in unemployment means the Reserve Bank should start cutting interest rates. But not so fast. The data isn't showing a collapse, just a mild easing. In fact, total jobs actually increased last month by almost 15,000. More people simply entered the workforce, which nudged the unemployment rate up. And that's important. People don't look for jobs unless they're confident they'll find one. So overall, the labour market remains resilient, and the RBA knows that. They'll also be watching inflation data closely ahead of their next big decision on Melbourne Cup Day. Now, despite all this economic noise, Australia's property market is powering ahead. The RBA has publicly stated they're not worried about rising house prices anymore, even though national prices could jump as much as 10% this year. Why? Because government incentives, like the First Home Buyer Scheme, are bringing thousands of new buyers into the market. Add record population growth and a chronic housing shortage, and you've got a recipe for continued price pressure. Even though construction costs have eased slightly, they're still 50% higher than pre-COVID levels. That means new housing is expensive to build, limiting supply and keeping demand focused on established homes. Right now, we're in the heart of the spring selling season, and auction markets are running hot. Sydney just saw over 1,300 auctions last weekend, with a clearance rate above 76%. That's a strong seller's market. Melbourne's sitting just behind at around 74%, and even Canberra, once sluggish, has bounced back with clearance rates near 70%. Buyers are clearly back, and so is FOMO, the fear of missing out. With strong prices through October and more buyers competing for limited stock, sellers are getting premium results. As we move into November and the pre-Christmas rush, expect to see that momentum continue, especially as more first home buyers rush in before prices climb even higher. So what does this all mean if you're buying, selling, or investing right now? Rising unemployment hasn't slowed housing demand. Interest rates are holding steady for now. And supply shortages are still the biggest driver of price growth. If you're a buyer, act strategically, know your local market, and don't let FOMO push you into a bad decision. If you're an investor, remember, property moves in cycles, but quality assets in strong locations always perform over time. That's all for today's breakdown of Australia's spring property surge. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone watching the market closely. Do you think prices will keep climbing into 2026, or is a cool down coming? Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, stay smart, stay informed, and keep it real with Realty Reels.